According to a study conducted by MediaKicks, a prominent market agency, the average person will spend more than 5 years of their lives on social media. Sadly, this doesn't even include other cell phone based applications, rather, social media alone. Thousands of years after Homer constructed the Odyssey, author Margaret Atwood decided to further break down this classic novel. Through a 21st century lens, I believe Atwood was able to grasp our changing society in terms of high school social construct and capture it in the Penelopiad. She showed that lower class high school citizens today are likely mistreated just as they were in the historical Western society due to our abusive slash obsessive relationship with social media. While not coming out and saying it, Atwood hinted at this theme many times throughout the novel with various quotes. Everything is good in moderation, which has become a motto that people live their lives by. It can be said that our relationships with social media are positive and even beneficial, as it can connect us with the community as well as enhance the way we express ourselves. It can be said in our society that social media brings everyone together, even eliminating the lower class of high school and morphing into one joint community. The times of then and now are so different. How could they possibly be relatable in our advanced 21st century world? Ever since the start of the human race, there have been the rich and the poor, the good and the bad, kings and peasants, and the smart and the stupid. People have been labeling each other for as long as we can remember, and many of the problems faced in history have stemmed from this seemingly stupid labeling system. As we have grown as a race, however, it seems as though we are starting to figure out how to accept all individuals and unite as one under a mostly fair government system in the United States. This is not entirely the truth, however, as Atwood shows in the Penelopiad. Within the rise of social media giants, you can find corruption and hatred stemming specifically in the high school setting. While challenges adolescents face, such as puberty, might be able to explain some of it, people are still admitting cruel and vicious behavior towards the lower class of high school. Atwood is able to hint at this many times throughout her book. Which of us can resist the temptation of being thought indispensable? Atwood. Especially at the adolescent age, everyone wants to be liked, and to do so must prove themselves indispensable by putting down others who they don't see as good as themselves. This happens because of the endless pit of time we devote ourselves on these social platforms. It becomes a full-time relationship, and instead of getting a divorce like in a marriage, we continue to make people feel so low they don't want to experience the gift of life. And having the lower class maids murdered for the crimes they never committed, Atwood is showing the extreme reality of teens who feel so low they are ready to take their own lives. Just as the maids didn't do anything wrong, the poor kids who experience this hatred have done nothing wrong either. Atwood breaks this down in a quote. Now that I am dead, I know everything. The abused teen doesn't know they are special and loved, while the abusers in the higher class just move on to another person because these kids really are just maids to them.
40% of online adults have experienced online harassment. 73% have witnessed it. And the unfortunate reality is that it is much worse and much more likely if you're a woman, LGBTQ, person of color, Muslim. I think you get the point. The problem is that in the news, we're seeing these big stories. We're seeing the 18-year-old Tyler Clementes who took his life after his roommate secretly filmed him kissing another guy and outed him on Twitter. We see women like Anita Sarkeesian being close to shamed off the internet and sent death and rape threats for sharing their feminism. We see these stories once it's too late. But what about the everyday online harassment? What about that ugly Snapchat you sent your friend with the intention of it being private, and now it's up on Facebook? And so it's just one photo. It's funny. It's just one mean comment. It's not a big deal. But when these micro moments happen over and over again over time, that's when we have a macro problem. We have to recognize these everyday instances as well, because if they go unchecked and the effects unnoticed, we are going to have many more Tyler Clementes. The effects
To them. However, there is hope to overcome the seemingly unclimbable mountain. No one explains this light at the end of the tunnel better than Atwood herself. I wanted happy endings in those days, and happy endings are best achieved by keeping the right doors locked and going to sleep during the rampages. As our 30-hour-a-week addiction continues to grow, Atwood says the only way out is to let go. Delete your social media accounts and feel better because of it. Stop caring what people think of you, and more importantly, accept everyone for who they are. Simply choose to see the good in others rather than the flaws. Because at the end of the day, as seen throughout history, the good eventually prevail. The people you're treating as lower class citizens right now really could come back to torment you, just as the maids tormented Odysseus in the afterlife. As seen in the Penelopiad, as well as daily high school life, being an adolescent is hard. Keeping good grades, playing sports, and fighting to be popular leaves many of us fighting to keep our heads above water. As Billy Joel says in his all-too-famous song, "We didn't start the fire, but we tried to fight it." We never asked for this. Social media was something that chose our generation. But it's not important who started the fire, but that we look it in the eye and fight it. Thank you.